GreenSoft performs complete FMD data collection, validation, offers software database solutions. We go and collect the compliance documents and full material disclosure data directly from the suppliers. And we've been collecting this data for many years. It's been a core part of our data collection process for many, many years. And we do this in order to establish the demonstrable due diligence. Now, in addition to just collecting the documents, we're doing that kind of data validation that I talked about earlier, as far as those kind of tips I gave you. We're doing all that plus a lot more because we have these automated validation checks, but we also have manual checks that are being performed by our team. So that whole thing where, look at what you're expecting to see and see if that's what you're getting. That's something that our engineers are doing because we have manual processing of these things. So we're doing that kind of heavy due diligence for you, going back to the suppliers, getting anything corrected or any conflicts changed, making sure everything's resolved before we deliver it, and then also delivering the metrics of how many times we had to contact the supplier, what kind of errors we saw in the supplier data, how long it takes them to respond. All those metrics you need to feed into your systems. Now, this is, as I mentioned, not a portal. Our engineers are working directly with the engineers at the suppliers to ensure the most accurate and complete data possible. And we're keeping this up to date with the 6-month freshness guarantee. So that means that you don't ever have to worry that the data is getting stale, because we're guaranteeing that we're going to go back and make sure that data is maintained on a 6-month freshness level. Now, when we collect that data, we're also integrated into our master database, which now has 95 million parts from almost 60,000 manufacturers. Almost 12 million of those parts have FMD data. So when a customer says, hey, I need you to go to the suppliers for these off-the-shelf parts and collect this data, there's a good chance we already have it in our database and can just hand it right over in the next day, right? So on day one, we might be able to deliver a lot of that information up front. So we have a lot of value because we've been doing this for 20 years and collecting this data for so long. We have these established communication channels with the supply chain, and we're able to collect, maintain, and make available very quickly high quality validated data. We also have Green Data Manager software, what we call GDM, which harnesses the power of the full material disclosures because it acts as a powerful FMD database. Once you've built that database, you can search for any substance or any list of substances and see exactly where those are, whether you're over our thresholds, what exemptions are being claimed, etc. Right? You can generate EU RoHS or SVHC compliance statements on demand. You can generate detailed analytical reports against any other regulations, exposure reports for Prop 65. You can check against proposed substances, like, for example, PFAS, which is proposed in EU and coming reportable in Minnesota, and see where those are being reported present in your supply chain and in your products. UV 328, the chlorine plus, those are going to be appearing in persistent organic pollutants soon. This gives you the power to check and identify where those are present in your supply chain and products now before it hits the persistent organic pollutants. So by the time they publish that, you've already addressed that. So the power of this software and this database cannot be overstated, right? And just kind of a screenshot here, we see a wireless router. We can identify based on the substance content of the components in here that this product is compliant with these regulations, that there's an EU RoHS exemption. We can see here that out of all the parts in this particular wireless router, we have 96.7% of those parts have full material declarations. And now we only have 3.3% or one of those parts that do not. GreenSoft needs to go back and push on that supplier. Once we have that, it'll be 100%. And then we can make 100% declarations on products based on that.
Watch the full-length video and gain access to our full archive of educational webinars at greensoftTech.com/videos. And while you're there, learn about our premier solutions for environmental regulation compliance.